because
We're not on our agenda.
just pencil me in.
She's on everyone's agenda.
I'm in. Thank you, Carbon. Announcing in the sanctuary, we are now presenting the Sabbatical Committee and their report, preparing us for Reverend Mary's sabbatical. Please join us.
Right. We haven't done a test. You want to go ahead or? All right. Our opening words are, you can't hear me? All right. Yeah. There we go. Our opening words are anonymous, shared by Reverend Victoria Safford. All of you is holy. Forget about enlightenment. Sit down wherever you are and listen to the wind that is singing in your veins. Feel the longing, the fear, the love in your bones. Open your heart to who you are right now, not who you'd like to be, not the saint you're striving to become, but the being right here before you, inside of you. All of you is holy. You're already more and less than whatever you can know. Breathe out, look in, let go.
Good afternoon, and thanks for sticking around because it's an awfully nice day out there. So welcome. I'm Polly Taylor. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a member of the Sabbatical Committee, or as we like to call it, the SabCom. And I'm also a member of the Pastoral Care Team. Thanks again for sticking around and joining us for this important forum about Reverend Mary's renewal sabbatical. Today is for you. We want to introduce ourselves again. We want to reassure you that we have a plan, and that plan continues to evolve, especially when we get input from you. Most importantly, we want to reinforce that we have a strong shared ministry here at OUUC, from the music to worship arts to pastoral care to the religious education, and an amazing staff, and I could go on. We will be well held and we will thrive during the upcoming sabbatical. We want to share a little bit of information for you first, some of which you may have read, but there'll be some additional details. We have the beautiful brochure that some of you have available. And then most of all, though, we really want to hear from you directly today. So we're going to have plenty of time for questions, comments, some of which we'll be able to answer today, some of which we won't, but we will be providing regular updates in the newsletter and other forums. And we also have comment cards that are available, and you can fill those out and we'll collect them at the end of today. So I think without further ado, we'll just get started.
Hello, I'm Tiffany Felch. I use she, her, and they, them pronouns, and I am a member of the Sabbatical Committee. And so I will share just some basic nuts and bolts facts about the sabbatical coming up. The Reverend Mary Gear will be taking a sabbatical from June 16th to October 31st of 2024. Sabbaticals are a vital and necessary element of a healthy long-term ministry. Reverend Mary's employment contract with OUUC clearly defines the frequency, length, and purpose of sabbaticals as part of her overall compensation package. However, it's much more than a contractual matter. Due to the unique nature of ministry, those who have accepted the call benefit from time away for deep reflection, study, rest, and discernment. The Unitarian Universalist Ministers Association guidelines call for ministers to accrue 1 month of sabbatical for each year of service, with sabbaticals being taken every 5 to 7 years. This sabbatical will take place in Reverend Mary's 5th year of service to OUUC, and discussions with the OUUC board began all the way back in August of 2022.
Hi, I'm Dan Donahue. I'm also a member of the Sabbatical Committee. This is a shared reading as well as a shared ministry. A ministerial sabbatical isn't solely for the benefit of the person taking time away. It's also an opportunity for the congregation to live into our mission and vision, as well as examine our processes separately from the minister's direct participation. It's a chance to strengthen our shared ministry and can be a time of reflection and transformation for all. Ministerial sabbaticals ground both the minister and congregation, allowing us to look ahead together with a renewed sense of shared purpose and responsibilities.
Hi, I forgot to mention earlier, I'm Kirsten Hill, also a member of the Sabbatical Committee, and I use she, her pronouns. A Sabbatical Committee was charged by our board to support Reverend Mary, the board, staff, and congregation. Our committee's purpose is to plan and prepare the congregation for the sabbatical period. We will remain active throughout Reverend Mary's sabbatical to connect congregants and others with the OUUC resources they need to ensure our shared ministry remains vibrant and effective. Committee members are Dan Donahue, Tiffany Felch, Curtis Tanner, Polly Taylor, and me, Kirsten Hill.
Part of the charge of the Sabbatical Committee is to plan how we will function and thrive in Reverend Mary's absence. In addition to the resources of the Sabbatical Committee, you should know that the board is currently in conversation with Reverend Monica Jacobson-Tennyson about serving as a half-time sabbatical minister. Those conversations are not yet complete, and it's likely to be finalized in the next month or so. You may not know, but should know that this is in addition to the consultant role that Reverend Monica already serves. She currently is working for us in the 2023-24 church year. She's been assisting with matters of governance and stewardship, as well as leading worship on a regular basis. During the sabbatical, while the nature of the scope of work is still being worked on, one of the functions that a sabbatical minister could perform would be some of the executive and staff support tasks that Reverend Mary does on a regular basis. The worship services will be organized with Reverend Monica, help plan, and then implemented by the worship arts team. So we will have a full summer of Sunday services with Reverend Monica, probably preaching about once a month. We're also putting together a contact list of where people can go for the different kinds of questions that they have. So we're putting together information on where you would go if you were in need of pastoral care, if you notice that the parking lot needs to be mowed, who you would call. So anyway, we're putting together a contact list. Will be posted on the website and distributed through the monthly or the weekly newsletter. Not yet up, but I'll be working with the tech committee to put together a little landing page on the OUUC website where all of the resources, including the contact list and other information, can be found. I also want to mention that we've established a email address that Tiffany and I will be monitoring throughout the sabbatical, sabbatical@ouuc.org. I think it's everywhere. It's in your brochure. It'll be online. So if you have questions or concerns, you just don't know who to reach out to, please just send us an email and we'll work on getting the information for you. So now I'd like to invite Polly to come back up, and this is just a time for questions and comments. In addition to taking questions now, if you think of some things that you want to just write down, we do have some cards. If you're online, feel free to send a question or a comment to the chat, and Carbon will bring those to our attention. Thanks.
Okay, now the fun really begins. And questions are up there. And the first one is, what questions or concerns do you have? And be sure to speak into the microphone because we're recording this. Okay, so how about, oh, we got one.
Well, so I think it's probably always a little bit scary when the minister is gone for a period of time. So I just want to say that's a concern that I think I have a little bit, and I would imagine that I'm not the only one. And, you know, just offer that, I guess.
Scary, can you say more about scary?
Well, she's here, she preaches, we get all that information, she's here running the executive functions that she's coordinating with the various teams and committees and providing her expertise and her ministerial presence, and that it's sort of a security for I would think a number of us at this point that we're comfortable. Maybe that's part of what is helpful about a sabbatical, is we all learn to be comfortable differently. But yeah, so that's what I meant, Jenny. Do you want to?
Okay.
So Martha, I definitely hear your concern about Reverend Mary being gone. She does so much for us. She's so central to the life of the church. And I do think that that's probably a feeling that some people have as well. I'll say for me personally, while I sit with that concern, I also look forward to the opportunity for our congregation to learn how to be well without her, and for each of us to maybe lean into some of the roles that we have in the church, to show ourselves that we are a thriving community. And while our settled minister is a very important central part of that, we are also a congregation of amazing individuals that do much to serve our church and our larger community. So it'll be a fun challenge, right? Tom.
And I'll also add, while the microphone is making its way to Tom, is that we've been down this road before with Arthur. Those of you who have been with us this long, and he was gone, I think, even longer, and we didn't even have a pastoral care program at that time. So, Tom.
Hi, I'm Tom. I've been involved with the Unitarian Church around 40 years, so I've seen many sabbaticals through the years.
Yeah.
And I think we have a really good staff here. In fact, Sarah was brought on a year ago, wasn't it? And I personally don't see why we need to bring in another minister on a part-time basis when we've just gotten Mary over the last 4 years, but half of that was during the pandemic, so we really didn't have a church functioning normal then, and we do now. We have a great worship committee. Most of the sabbatical will happen during the summer months, and that's usually when the worship committee organizes the services. So I just think we're spending a lot of money we probably don't exactly have to have. That's my opinion.
Is this
And, I think one thing that Reverend Mary wanted us to always be upfront about is that Reverend Sarah is great, but she has a full plate right now with all of the work that she does for the church, for the community, for the lifespan, religious education, and that'll become clear when the contact list is out, which I'm the lead for. You'll see her name listed by a lot of things, and so it's really difficult to think that she could take on all of the additional work that the minister, who is really our CEO, our executive, as well as our pastoral leader. So, but thanks for your voice. Okay. So I do have a few questions that Reverend Mary shared with us that actually got sent to her for the question box service last week. So she sent us the questions and the answers, so which is always good. So the first question is, after Reverend Mary's sabbatical, she is obliged to another year as our minister. After that, is she thinking of leaving? I don't know if it's typical with UU churches for reverends to move around. Answer from Reverend Mary. Reverend Mary has no plans to stop serving OUUC soon. One purpose of the sabbatical is renewal so that her ministry here is sustainable. Some UU ministers move around, others don't. Reverend Mary is quite happy here, where she is here in Olympia with us. And the second question that came to her last week was, what are you looking forward to about your sabbatical? Answer, rest and days without a schedule. And the third question that came last week was, what do you hope for the congregation while you're gone? And the answer, a renewal of ownership of the congregation's identity and work. So we have a couple of other thoughts for discussion, opportunities or challenges do you envision? And any ideas that you might have for the send-off celebration, which will be in June? You don't have to come up with those today, obviously. That's why we have the email that you can always send us your thoughts, questions, comments, ideas, and the comment cards that Kirsten has.
I'll just offer, as a member of the worship arts team, we are thinking about the send-off celebration. We will not be asking Reverend Mary to officiate her own going-away party. So we'll be looking for support and ideas from others. We've also been in communication with the congregation down in Vancouver that also recently had a minister on sabbatical, and they have some rituals and activities that they did throughout the process, so we're learning from them. We will definitely be grateful for ideas about what a proper send-off for Reverend Mary looks like on June 16th. We'll also be organizing with the worship arts team a return welcome home ceremony. I believe that's tentatively scheduled for the first Sunday in November when she returns. So we'll definitely need help in those areas. Any questions online, Carbon? Thank you.
Okay.
I'm sort of surprised no one has asked if Reverend Mary will be available during her sabbatical, and so I had prepared an answer and I need to give it. As I understand it, she will not be available, and there will be 2 identified people who can contact her. And I don't think we went over our last meeting, but as I understand it, if there is the death of, say, a member or a child, that it's likely that Reverend Mary would return for that event. Is that still our understanding?
I think that in that situation, the sabbatical member, whoever that were, would coordinate with Reverend Mary, so there'll be 2 people
Right.
that
Right.
Reverend Mary.
Right.
One would be the board president, and the other would be the sabbatical minister.
Right.
And I think that they would work out what would happen there. But you're right, Dan. For all intents and purposes, Reverend Mary will not be available to us for the kinds of life celebrations. We'll have those as we can, or wait until she returns.
Yes.
Hearing two things, two answers to
Oh,
that.
wait for the mic.
I thought I heard two different answers to that, that she would be available in the case of a service needed, or you're saying that she would not?
I did say that, and what Curtis sort of clarified, that if at all possible, somebody else would cover for Reverend Mary, but that person would discuss that issue with Reverend Mary to see if she's going to take a role in that particular event or ceremony or memorial.
But we can seek a clearer answer for that question.
Yes, Martha.
I thought I read somewhere that Reverend Carol McKinley is going to be more I'm not talking about services necessarily, but that she is going to be more available than she is now, or did I make that up?
Well, she's wonderful, so we'd love to have her more available. Well, Reverend Carol does periodically offer the service message, so that will continue. And mostly what Reverend Carol will be involved in is she is the lead person for the caregiver support group. That will continue. And she will be available to us on pastoral care for consultation. If someone's in the hospital and a lay person can't visit, she can put the collar on and gain entrance to visit someone. So it's pretty minimal. She might engage in some of the rites of passage, but that would be, as Curtis alluded to, that would be a decision that the sabbatical minister, in conversation with Reverend Carol, would do. But she will be supporting particularly pastoral care. Any other questions? Okay.
And to sort of wrap things up, we have many thanks and lots of gratitude for those who attended today on this sunny Sunday, and those who are watching online, or those who may watch after the fact to the recorded session. We've taken notes today of what's been shared and what's been discussed, and knowing that other things may come up after the fact. So we do encourage you to stay in conversation with us, speak with any member of us on when you see us on Sundays or other days, as well as use that sabbatical@ouuc.com email address if you would like to engage further. We want to be very transparent and thoughtful in our processes. We believe that this is the best way to serve the congregation's long-term health. So please mark your calendars now for that June 16th send-off celebration, as well as a November welcome back celebration. So, thank you. Thank you. And we will now extinguish our chalice.
Yes, I forgot this. Okay. So the closing words are by Eric Williams. The reflection is titled, "We All Emerge." We all emerge from, dwell within, and are transformed by, and are called back to love. May your mind be humbled before this mystery. May your heart grow hopeful by it. May you be sustained by this love always.
You know, it is a sunny Sunday, and a lot of people didn't stay who might have benefited. And so I was thinking, maybe you could do this again on a rainy, cold day for the people who are missing today. That's all. Thank you for doing this.
And I just want to shout out that it will also be available on our YouTube. So if there are any rainy, cold days and you feel like you want to re-experience this forum in the right environment, that will be available.